What's going on, guys? Chandler's Legacy Farm here. Today we're going to be taking a look at survival knives. So whenever I think of a survival knife, I'm thinking something that is 6 inches long, maybe, I don't know, maybe between like 6 and 8 inches. All right, that's what I'm thinking about whenever I think about survival knives. I wanted to kind of throw this video together anyway because of some of the recent testing that I've done with a couple of my new knives, kind of to compare with a couple of my older knives. And what I've came up with here is these are my 4 favorite knives that I would call survival knives. When you think of a companion knife, you think of something like between 4 and 5 inches, definitely a little less than 6, right? 6 inches seems to be the cutoff for me. For 6 inches and under seems to, I think of that as a companion knife, okay? Or a bushcraft knife, or a more utility style task knife, okay? And then anything 6 inches and above, I think of as a survival knife. And I think that's the way most people, view things like that. But I have 4 knives here, and the price tier goes from $100 to $200. So that's a pretty wide range, from $100 to $200. But this is what I have. This is kind of what I'm going with here. We do have different steels to think about. So there's a lot to think about if you're just going to pick, say you're just going to pick one survival knife, okay? Out of these 4, okay, you need to think about steel choices, okay? You need to think about, will it strike a fire steel? Will it not strike a fire steel? Will it scratch fat wood? Well, I mean, if it'll do one, it'll do the other, right? You think about the grind, do you want a hollow grind? Do you want a saber grind? Do you want a flat grind? What kind of a grind are you looking at here? So there's lots of different things to consider. Do you want a finger choil? Do you want one without a finger choil? A lot of people likes the finger choils, a lot of people doesn't. I fall in the category of depending on the knife. Some knives that have a finger choil, I kind of like it. Some of them that has a finger choil, I can take it or leave it. That's what I'm getting at. If I have a finger choil and it's comfortable, I'm going to use it, okay? If it doesn't have a finger choil, my biggest pet peeve is if it doesn't have a finger choil, I want that knife, that sharpened edge, to be as close to the handle as I can get it, okay? I want it to go all the way down, as close to the handle as we can get it. So let's start from the least expensive and work our way up to the most expensive, okay? That's what we'll start with. This is the Cold Steel Srk. This is in their CPM 3V steel. If I didn't just mutilate that. Yes, CPM 3V steel. So this is a tool steel, all right? So not real hard to sharpen, but a little harder to sharpen than what your carbon steels would be. So this is a tool steel. And see how where they sharpen it here? Right here from here to where your end of your handle is very close. You're only what are we here? Let's take a quick measurement. You are about a quarter of an inch. Well, no, from the handle, from where your actual finger is, you're looking at about a half an inch away from your cutting edge, from here to here, okay? That's what you're looking at. From here to here is about half an inch. So you're only half an inch away from where and if you get any farther away than that, I wish I'd have brought a knife out here that had something like that, but I didn't. If that sharpened spot doesn't start from here up, you're not as close to your work. I like to be close to my work most of the time. I just like an edge to be really close to my hand. And that's pretty darn close, right? I don't like it to be any farther away than what this is. This will scratch fat wood. It will strike a fire steel. Does have a very comfortable handle. It works well for about any size hand from what I can see. The handle's very tactile. It's very sticky. You feel like you have a hold of it and it has a hold of you. You know what I'm getting at. So it does have a nice lanyard hole. So, something like this, these will run you, sometimes you can find them on special. I think I got this one through Midway a while back. a long time ago actually, and it was on sale for like 80 bucks. But I just looked on Amazon right now, and the one that I found on Amazon was $120. So you're looking at right around 100 bucks, give or take a little bit, right? Give or take maybe 20 bucks here or there, actually. But that's what we're looking at for this one, all right? Comes with a good sheath. You'll notice here I like plastic sheaths. I like Kydex sheaths for larger knives. Bushcraft style knives, I kind of like leather a little better. So I'm not real picky either way when it comes to that. I definitely like, I don't like, if it's going to be a survival knife, I don't want it being way up here on my side. With like a tech lock clip, I want it to hang down off of me a little bit. So therefore it's not binding me up, okay? Because with a large knife, when you clip it in the middle, it's just not as comfortable. You take a smaller knife, like an EDC style knife, and you put a tech lock clip on it, it's just not as cumbersome as what something like this is that's on your side. I want it to be hanging down. Okay, that's just me. My preference, and that's something that you'll learn as you progress from purchasing knives, and you'll learn what styles work for you with certain sizes of knives also. So there is the least expensive one. The next most expensive one, this one will run you about $150. This is carbon steel, 1095 carbon steel. This is my SE6. So this will not strike a fire steel unless you grind some of the coating off the back of the spine here. If you can grind a little bit of that off, that is actually what I've done with my Esee Laser Strike and my SE4 my SE4 HM. Excuse me. That is what I've done with those. Is I took a little section like that, like right from here to here, knocked that coating off, made it sharp so I can strike a fire steel. But this is one of those that does have a finger choil, and it's a usable finger choil. The jipping back here on the back of the blade is great. That's one thing I was going to say about this one. There is no jipping. Some people likes jipping on the back of their spine. Some people does not. See, this doesn't have any at all. So it's just slick, all right? But that still works for me, you know. But the jipping I like. It does give a little extra. So you can choke up on this. You can choke back. This has got enough of a bill right here too. You can kind of choke back on it and get in some chops if you need to. 6-inch knife is just getting into that territory of being a chopper. Just barely. Now this doesn't have a whole lot going on here to give you much chopping action, okay? You would probably want to run a small lanyard on this to keep it in your hand a little easier. Just saying. So, let's see. What else can we say? Oh yeah, we got bolt-on micarta handle scales. You can also get these with the G10 handle scales. Contoured G10. This is the contoured micarta handle scales. They bolt on, they don't pin on. So that's another thing you got to look at. Do this handle scales bolt on, or do they pin on, or does it have some sort of a rubberized handle, or even like a polymer handle, okay? I don't like plastic handles on survival knives. I really don't much care for plastic handles in general. I want micarta, I want G10, or I want rubber. That's kind of my wheelhouse for what I prefer. All right, I kind of like micarta the best. Next would be G10. Then the next thing would be a rubberized handle. But this is the SE6. It has been proven. It's a very comfortable knife. Feels very great in the hand. You know, the thing with the tool steel is it is a little. Most of your tool steels are a little bit stainless. Okay, they're not stainless, but most of them will not rust as quick and easily as your standard carbon steels will. 1095 right here, Esees. The only thing that can actually rust on this, you know, the easiest would be right here where the etching is and the edge of the blade itself. Right there on the very edge, it can rust. So you have to be, conscientious about your carbon steels. Make sure you dry them off. Very dry before you slide it back in the sheath. Make sure it's clean before you slide it back in the sheath. With your tool steels, you don't have to be quite as particular. They will still rust, but a lot of tool steels do have a little bit of stainless steel properties in them that will help a little more than your standard carbon steel. Okay, then we're going to go into the next one. This is the Joker Nomad 6.5. Okay, and it is in, oh, let me look. I gotta look. It is in the Bowler N695, made in Spain. This is made in the USA. This is made in Taiwan. The cold steel is made in Taiwan, made in the USA, Esee. This is made in Spain. And this is the Joker Nomad 6.5. So this one has got, okay, this has got basically a saber grind with a saber grind with like a clip point out on the end, okay? Your SE6 has got a full flat grind, all right? So with it having a full flat grind, it is actually also, it is a little bit thinner than the cold steel. So this one here would actually probably be a little more, I'm sure it is, just a little more slicey with that full flat grind. That's another thing you have to look at. This one has got a convex edge, so it has a totally different edge compared to these two, and it has got a saber grind with a drop point, okay? So the saber grind means that the grind comes almost to the top, okay? Anywhere from halfway all the way to the top. See, this is, I would call this a saber grind also because it is not hollow, it's flat on the side. The best I can tell, it's flat on the side. So that's what you're looking at there. This is a stainless steel though. The Bowler N695 is a stainless steel. They compare it sort of to like a 420 or a 440, something like that. It's similar to that, but it is a stainless steel. So therefore, if you know you're going to be in a wet, humid environment, this may be the route to go. This one, as I was saying about handle scales, this has micarta handle scales, but it has pinned designed, so you can't change these handle scales. You can't do anything with them. They are what they are. To where this one, the Esee, has got bolt-on handle scales where you can take them on and off or change them out if you wanted to. All right, so there you're getting into some more differences. Pinned scales as compared to rubberized textured scales or your bolt-on scales. This knife here has got a little bit of a bill right there where you can get a little bit of, you know, chopping action in, which works fine. Let's see. An exposed pommel too. A lot of people likes an exposed pommel. I could actually strike a fire steel off this pommel, all right? The Esee has got an exposed pommel, all right? It's exposed right there on the back. You can't strike a fire steel off of it, but it is exposed. To where this rubberized handle, there's nothing exposed. It's totally encapsulated inside the rubber handle. So therefore, you're not going to be beating it, cracking open nuts, and, you know. So you got to think about that too. So let me think here. All right, then you get into something like this big guy. This is the Lionsteel M7. So we stepped up to a little larger knives. We went from 6 inches to 6.5 to 7-inch knives. That's what we've stepped into. Both of these, this has got the Secure X sheath. This has got a standard polymer plastic sheath, okay? Then we stepped into Kydex with this one, with the Joker. And we've stepped into Kydex with the Lionsteel. Now the Lionsteel is in Sleipner steel, made in Italy. This is like a D2 tool steel on steroids, okay? This is like a super strong D2 steel. This one has got a finger choil, a nice usable finger choil, a big finger choil. Now this one does not have, okay, I was talking about jipping. This one has got jipping on it right there, right? It's got some jipping. This one does not have any jipping, but it has a raised portion here for you to lay your thumb against, okay? You can go over it, or you can stay behind it and have something to lay your thumb against like that. So, and it has a saber grind. This is another saber grind. So still, the Esee is probably going to be your most slicey one. The thickness on the Esee is still thinner than on either one of these. These here, the Joker and the Lionsteel, are almost identical in thickness. I mean, almost, best I can tell anyway. They are almost, yeah, they are pretty damn close to being identical on thickness. Then another thing that I totally missed, you have to have a full tang knife. That means the metal runs all the way through the handle, and sometimes it's exposed, sometimes it's not. The metal does run all the way into the handle, right through, all the way down here to this, past this brass insert for your lanyard loop. So you want a full tang knife. When it comes to a survival knife, do not waste your time with this bullshit that does not have a full tang. Because if you are in a dire situation and you're going to have to do batoning, you may have to throw your knife, you may have to beat on your knife in ways that you've never dreamed of. You want a full tang knife. And then if you bust the damn handle off, hopefully you'll have some leather, or you might have some paracord that you could wrap that handle with, all right, to make yourself a handle. But the Lionsteel, they do something just a little different. This is one solid chunk of micarta. It is bolted on, okay? It's not pinned in. Those are bolts. But they take a saw, basically, or something, and they hollow out the inside of this and then lay the knife blade down in it. You can see there, that is, the knife blade is 3/4 encapsulated in micarta. This is one chunk of micarta, to where on this knife, you have slabs. You have one side and another side. You have two different sides of micarta. This is one milled piece of micarta right here on these Lionsteels, okay? So, like I said, saber grind, drop point design, has a usable finger choil. This knife is so comfortable, I don't even hardly ever use the finger choil because it came so screaming sharp, and the handle is so comfortable. I wear large to extra large gloves, guys, and this handle is so comfy that I hardly ever have to choke up into that that finger choil. So, and this will strike a fire steel inside this finger choil right here. You can check out my videos on these knives, and it will strike fire steel right there. But it won't scratch fat wood very well. It'll kind of strike and it'll scratch way out here, but up here where you need it to be, it's rounded, and it just doesn't do a very good job when it comes to scratching fat wood. It will strike fire steel very well off of this, but it's hard to scratch fat wood off of the finger choil. You need to be able to scratch it off the back. So you're not scratching fat wood or striking a fire steel with this one without modifications, okay? You're not striking, you can strike your fire steel, but you're not going to scratch fat wood with this one. So in a survival situation, I want something that will do that, okay? Something that will strike fire steel, something that will scratch fat wood. So that, for me, automatically will eliminate this knife. This knife was the most expensive one. This one is like $211, so it's just a touch over $200. That's for the Lionsteel M7. The Joker Nomad 6.5 was $200, so maybe just a couple dollars more. These two knives are within $10 of each other, okay? And then you have about $150 for the Esee and about $100, $120 for the Cold Steel. So as I'm going through this, all of this in my head, I'm thinking about everything that I want and everything that I see in a survival knife for what I want for my needs. Your needs may not, your personal needs of what you think you need is going to be probably totally different than mine. You might carry 3 Bic lighters in your pocket, and you're never going to need a fire steel, right? Or you don't think you're going to have to. So therefore, you know, some of this stuff you're not going to be thinking about. And you might think, okay, I'm just going to make really, really, really fine curls off of pine, and not have to worry about scratching any fuzz. Well, sometimes that works too. I mean, it does. So I'm going through this in my head, and I'm thinking, what is going to be my personal ideal for me as with, you know, everything that rattles around in this crazy head. What actually suits me? And what suits me is not this one, and it's actually not this one either, because you would have to modify it, okay? If you go into the field and it's already modified, well, that's one thing, right? But if I can't do what I want to do, you know, in a survival situation, so that's going to take these two out of the equation. So that leaves these two, okay? That's what that leaves. Both of these will do exactly what I want to do. They will strike fire steels, they'll scratch fat wood, they'll stay sharp, they're good steel. This one does have an exposed pommel, and it does have bolted on handle scales. This will be better in the wintertime because this rubber will not take heat as easily as what this will. This handle will not get as cold as this one will. Or shoot, this one will get colder than the rubberized one, okay? Just because of the insulation of the rubber whenever you're using it in the wintertime, okay? Another thing you want to think about, that one does not have jipping. This one does, okay? And the most important thing that you need to think about is the environment. I live in a very humid environment, and I am around water all the time. Not salt water, but I'm always at the lake. I'm always fishing. I'm at the river. I have a spring and a creek that runs feet from my house right out there. And so I think about things, you know, maybe differently than some people do, just because of the environment that I live in here in southeastern Missouri. I would stay with the stainless properties of the Joker is another plus for me. So since this is a tool steel, this is a stainless steel. All right, that's going to automatically, my opinion, take that one out of the equation also. So out of all the knives I own, this is the one. If I could only have one, out of every knife I have for a survival knife, and it doesn't really matter, but this one did come with a fire steel. Okay, out of all these that are laying here on the table, this one did come with a fire steel. That really didn't sway me a lot either. You know what I'm saying? It's nice that it came with it, yes, and it's nice that it came with this awesome sheath, but all the rest of these sheaths do their job just as well as this one does. This one just has a fire steel bolted on it, and you can buy fire steels and you can bolt them on any of these that you would want to, right? You can do that. So, but this one has basically got everything I want in a survival knife. This is it. Now, I may buy another knife soon or 2-3 years from now, and I might say, okay, this one's it. No. Well, until that day, the shit hits the fan, end of the world, whatever happens. If I could only go into my knife drawer and my knife case and my gun cabinet, everywhere I have knives in my home, locked up, if I could only grab one tool, one knife, if I had it, I literally could take one fixed blade knife with me, it will be this one because of everything I mentioned, okay? It does have the jipping. It will strike fire steel. It will scratch fat wood. It's slicey enough to do what I want to do. Has an exposed pommel, completely full tang. It doesn't have any screws to loosen up, so I don't have to worry about losing handle scales, which, I mean, that never happens anyway. But just saying, sometimes the pins can loosen up on certain knives, but not on Jokers. Not that I know of, man. So anyway, Nomad 6.5. This would be my go-to in an end of the world scenario. We'll go with that. Great knife, great knife. I might find something that suits me better one day, but it's going to have to be damn impressive to impress me more than what this one has. And I've done firecraft with all of these knives, and they all work. They will all work and serve their purpose. But when I think about my own preferences that I like in a fixed blade knife, in a survival knife for a survival situation, this right here is $200, the most well spent that I think I've ever spent on a knife. A lot of people may disagree with me. They may say, oh, you needed something else, something with a different steel, something with a better steel. You needed carbon steel because it's easier to sharpen. Well, that is true. That's true. But this is what I would go with, guys. The end of the world happened tomorrow. This would be the knife that I would grab right here to get me through until, my time came. So anyway, guys, that's it. Hope you liked the video. I wanted to try to compare some of these and have a price range for you and just kind of compare them all. I'll actually hold them all up one time for you. We got the M7, the Nomad 6.5. We have got the, oh man, I don't know if I can do this, the Esee 6, and the Cold Steel. There we go, guys. That's what we have right there. That is it, man. That is 4 awesome, very capable knives right there, for sure. But my favorite one's going to be the Joker so far. That one's just it. All right, guys. I'll get these sheathed up before I end up lacerating something. But that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like, share, subscribe as usual. And we're out of here. And we will see ya.